Change requires change. Let me give you that one again. I don't know if you heard that. Let me give you that one again. Right. Hey, change requires change. Like if you're expecting something to be different, if you're striving to go to a different path, bro, you got to change some things you're doing in your life. On the other side of your uncomfort is your maximum growth. And so anytime you're facing that uncomfort, you got to know that, man, on the other side of that, I'm gonna be better. As we start, our first session is achieving greatness, right? And I remember studying, I'm going to give you some science in your lesson today. Studying potential energy and kinetic energy. Y'all heard those words before? Right? Potential and kinetic, right? Like we all have God-given potential given to us, right? We have things in us, right? We just have to realize that and then make it kinetic and put the dang work in, right? To make it happen, to do great things, achieve that greatness, right? And so I'm a simple guy. Like I believe in making things simple, giving me steps, like actionable steps that I can apply and do those things. Like the grandiose, that's a lot for me, right? I have to break it down and be simple. All right, so I want to give you some principles that I think that you can use to achieve greatness. And the first thing is work hard, right? And you know, you guys that have been, y'all heard me say this before, like we can do this stuff all day long, right? We can talk and I'm bro, you gotta put the work in, right? To make great things happen, you got to put the dang work in and be open and willing to put in work too, right? Don't think that anything's above you. Like, no, you got to put work in if you're expecting great things to happen, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is simple, do right, right? We all know the difference between right and wrong, right? Do right. I've worked with this coach before. He said this, and this cracked me up. I always share this. He said, man, I got 2 rules, Coach. You probably heard this. I got 2 rules. That's it. The first rule is do right. Right? The second rule is, see rule number 1, do right. Right? And so what you have to make sure you do is, like, just strive to do things the right way. Right? Take your time. Make sure you just do things the right way, because if you don't do it right, you're going to have to go back and do it again. Right? That's what my mom used to say, boy. She know my name. She gave me my name. When she say, boy, that's when it's serious, right? Boy, you better make sure you do that right, or you're going to have to do it. I'm going to make you do it again. Right? So just do things right the first time. And I've seen that just by taking the time to do things right, it benefits you. Right? The next one is put yourself around good people. And there's some guys in this room that have done that, right? And when you can put yourself around good people, you have that peer pressure to do good things, right? When you put yourself around good people, they don't pressure you to do crazy stuff. They don't pressure you to say, hey man, like you doing right, you like all that kind of stuff. They don't do those kind of things. Like they encourage you in the right way. So it's important to make sure that you put yourself around good people, because what happens is that helps you make good choices, right? And when you put yourself around good people and make good choices, oh man, good things happen for you. And you achieve that greatness that you want to achieve. The next thing is live and learn. And nobody's immune from living or growing through tough things and learning. Y'all catch what I said there? Nobody's immune from living and growing through tough things, right? And what we have to make sure we do is, when we grow through those tough things, is that we are aware enough to catch those lessons. I call it the blessings in the lessons, right? We have to be aware of that, so we catch those and we use those to be of benefit to others. Like anytime that you're going through tough stuff, you have to make sure you reflect and say, hey, what am I learning in this? Because it's something that you can learn from it, which is going to make you better when you grow through it, right? You'll be able to look back on it and say, oh man, I got better, right? It's a deal I do with my son, man. Like when I have a tough day, I'm like, man, I got better today, dog. Woo, it was a tough day. I got better today, right? And so, yeah, it's a shift of perspective. right? And then the last point is be grateful. Things could be better, but things could also be way worse, right? And it's important for us to be grateful for what we do have, because that allows you to just work with what you got. Let me give you that one again, right? When you allow yourself to be grateful, it allows you to just be able to just work with what you got. And when you can learn to work with what you got, amazing things will happen for you just because you're grateful for what you have. And there's a quote that I always like to share is, gratitude is the attitude that determines our altitude. Woo. Let me give you that one again. Gratitude is the attitude that determines our altitude. And it's important for us to be grateful for what we have and have that attitude every moment of each day. Because when you do that, you'll soar to high heights, right? So that's the piece that I had for you. I hope that you guys were able to take something from that and use that and apply it in your life. And today, what I want to talk about is balance and prioritizing, right? Balance and prioritizing. And really, when you look at the word balance, you can, that word for me is interchangeable with integration, right? Because balance is a tough word. I think it's more like integration. And this is something that I do in my life. Like you need to know, we're not up here just giving you fluff, right? Hey guys, try this point, this tip. No. Like this right here is what I do in my life, right? And so I want to share this with you. I call it the balance pie. And what I've done is there's 10 things, I've prioritized 10 things that are important to me in my life, right? And it don't matter what the season is. It don't matter what everybody around me is doing. It don't matter what people think of me. I'm gonna do those 10 things, period, right? And so I call it my balance pie because those are my priorities, right? And I'm gonna strive to work on those things every day, right? And I'll go down with a faith. You know what that is. I don't have to explain it. Family is important. Work, tapping into my work. Personal growth, striving to be the best version of myself so that I can be the best version of myself for others. Relationships, life moves at the speed of our relationships, right? So it's important to make sure that we have great relationships, cherish those, and build great relationships, because opportunities bring opportunities, right? Fendi and I, one of the speakers, we were talking about this out there. It's so many great things that have happened in my life, and it ain't been about Chip Baker, y'all. It hasn't been because Chip Baker is special, right? It's been because I've just strived to be a decent dude, and people have thought that, man, he's all right, so we'll give him an opportunity, right? And I'm truly grateful for that. So it comes from those great relationships. Making a difference, right? In every situation, find a way to make a difference, right? You can. Being present. And for me, your presence is the present. Ooh, let me give you that one again. Hey, your presence is the present. So for any situation that you're in, it's important for you to be present and in the moment in those situations. Because when you allow yourself to be present and in the moment in those situations, you maximize the opportunity. You maximize the experience. You benefit from being present because you're able to give that present to other people, to the ones that you love, right? So that's being present. Attitude. It's important to control your attitude. Make sure you're on point with that. Oh, here's another one, Doc. Gratitude is the attitude that determines our altitude. Gratitude is the attitude that determines our altitude. We have to be grateful for what we have, right? When you allow yourself to do that, amazing things will happen for you. The next piece is effort. I rock with effort, right? None of us are perfect. We're all gonna make mistakes. But you show me some effort, man, I rock with effort. You know that. you saw that firsthand. I rock with effort, right? And so it's important to make sure you give effort to everything you do, because great things will happen for you there. And then the last thing is just be the glue, right? In any situation that you're in, be aware of what's going on, right? Be ready to step in and be the glue and hold things together. All right, and so I wanted to share that with you. Those are the 10 things in my balance pie that I prioritize and do. And like every person, like if you choose to do something like this, every person is going to be different. You may not have 10 things. You may have 5, and that's okay. You may have 3, and that's okay, right? But it's important to make sure that you prioritize what's important to you, because that drives you in what you're doing, that allows you to be focused in on what you're doing, that allows you to make sure that you're focused and you take each step of your life on purpose and you're intentional. And when you do those things, man, I'm gonna try not to smile when I say this. I already smile, right? What happens when you allow yourself to do that, there's no regrets. You'll be able to look back and say, man, I'm super proud of the things that I've accomplished because I prioritize what's important to me, and I went to work on those. And today, with my reflection, this week I thought about change. I thought about, the last week we talked about prioritizing. The week before I talked about some things that allow you to be great and achieve greatness in your life, right? So to be great, then you have to balance and prioritize. But then when we're looking at ourselves and looking to be the best versions of ourselves, sometimes you got to change some things, right? And change is good. Change requires change. Let me give you that one again. I don't know if you heard that. Let me give you that one again. Right? Change requires change. Like if you're expecting something to be different, if you're striving to go to a different path, bro, you got to change some things you're doing in your life. Right? So change requires change. And so the first thing, in order to have change, you got to work on your consistency. Right? Consistency builds trust. Now you think about it, those people that you trust the most, or the people that I trust the most in my life, they're consistent. Like I know what I'm gonna get from them, right? So we have to make sure that we're consistent. We have to make sure that we show up in a consistent manner each moment of each day. The second thing is look at our habits. And where your focus goes, your energy flows. Where your energy flows, your focus goes. Ooh. Hold on, I'm gonna give them that one again. Hold on, wait a minute. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. Where your energy flows, your focus goes, right? And so when you focus on things that are in the right manner, you develop great habits. And your habits, it allows you to stack those successful actions, right? And before you know it, you'll take one step and you look back like, oh man, I'm proud of that, right? It'll get you more excited to do more of that. Then you take a few more steps, you look back, oh man, I'm super proud of that, right? And it all starts because you stacked your habits. The next thing with change is your attitude. And I think all of us have heard this before. The 2 things you can control is your attitude and your effort, right? I'm telling you, man, I rock with effort all day long. Like you show me some effort, you got me, right? None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, but you show me some effort. You show me a positive attitude that you care. Oh man, let's go. I'm in there with you. Let's go, right? And so the attitude is so crucial, and you have to have a positive attitude. And those of you that have come before, you've heard me say this. You know, my blood type is B positive. Right? Yeah. And I try to stay away from people with the blood type of O negative. Right? Have to make sure you continue to have a positive attitude in what you're doing. The next thing is new learning. It's important to learn new things so that you have continued growth. Right? And when you have that continued growth, you don't feel stagnant. Right? You guys ever gotten in a position where you're like, oh man, I don't feel like I'm growing. I don't feel like I'm getting better. Well, the reason is because you're not learning anything new. Right? When you learn new things, like it's challenging, right? And then as you do that and you get more reps, because reps make you better, like you get to see, well, in order for me to have continued growth, I got to challenge myself and get the reps and have new learning so that I'm not stagnant and I continue to be better, right? So you have to make sure that you continue to have new learning. The next point is gratitude. And you have to be grateful for what you do have. Things could be better, but they could also be way worse, right? And I always like to say gratitude is the attitude that determines our altitude, right? If we allow ourselves to be grateful in any situation that we're in, it'll surprise you the amazing things that will happen to you in your life just because you're grateful for what you got right now. You're not focusing in on poor me, I don't have this happened to me. No, what are you grateful for right now? Can you work with that? Yeah, you can, right? Be grateful for what you have right now and you'll soar to high heights. And then the last thing, when you do all of those things with change, you'll find out that you put yourself in a position to make an everlasting impact. And that's the sweet spot right there. That's where you want to be in making an everlasting impact. It allows you to influence. It allows you to impact. It allows you to be the impact of influence, right? Which gives you that everlasting ripple effect to make things great for all of the people that you're blessed to be around. And so with my bit, I just wanted to talk about change today and let you know that change requires change, right? So as you are focusing in on being the best version of yourself, these things will help you with the change that you're striving to achieve in your life. This week, I want to talk about investing, all right? And it's important to make sure that we invest. And a lot of times when people hear the word invest, what do you think about first? Money, right? You think about money, okay, investing money, right? But to me, I believe that it's important to invest in our relationships. Y'all agree with that? Yeah, it's important to invest in our relationships because in relationships, in order to take withdrawals, you got to do what first? You got to make deposits, right? And that's anything in your life. If you're expecting to withdraw something, you got to make deposits first, right? And so I'm going to talk to you about investing in the relationships. And so the first thing to invest in relationships is you have to take intentional actions. Right, man, I leaned into the mic when I said that. I shook my head, right? You got to take some intentional actions. And what I mean by that is like not just actions, but those actions that you're taking towards the relationship, they have to mean something, right? They have to be intentional. They have to be on purpose, right? Not just for whatever, like it has to be for a reason. You have to take intentional actions. I think that's the first thing. The second thing is new experiences. And so to invest in relationships, you got to be open and willing to have the challenges to have new experiences, right? You got to be open and willing to have the challenges to have new experiences. And what I mean by that is when you look at a relationship you have, just say if it's husband and wife or friends, right? You have two people. In the relationship, you hope that this person grows, right? You hope that person B grows, right? So each of you have individual new experiences, but oh man, when you have those new experiences, you learn so many great things. But when you do those things together, now you bring that together, now we've all gotten better. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So it's important to make sure that we invest in having those new experiences in those relationships because everybody involved gets better when you do that. The next thing is you have to be visible. And what I mean by that is be present, right? In relationships, your presence is the present. Ooh, come on, Chip. Hold on, wait a minute. Let me give you that one again. Hold on, wait a minute. Hey, I took him to church on that one, man. I took him to church. Hey, your presence is the present, right? And what I mean by that is, like I'm reflecting on when I say this, I'm looking at my guy here, big time athlete coach. Like I'm thinking about when I was an athlete, right? Growing up, single parent mom, Like I know that my mom and my family didn't have money to be where they were supposed to be there to support me. Like I knew that, right? But to look and see them, like it didn't matter in college, wherever I was playing, they was there. If they had to drive all night, like they were there, they were present. And so for me, that showed me, hey man, I can't mess up. Like I got people depending on me because they're visible. They're investing in that relationship. Then man, I got to make sure that I give them back. It's a competition. I got to give them more back than what they're giving me, right? So be visible. The next thing is effort. And I'm sure those of you that come before, you've heard me say this, man, I rock with effort, right? None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. But if you're showing me some effort, oh man, I'm with you. Because effort shows me that you care. Effort shows me that it means something to you. Effort shows me that I mean something to you because you're giving me effort, right? Effort counts, right? I rock with effort. The next thing to invest is sacrifices. And so in anything, if you're expecting to have growth, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. I'm going to give them that one again too. Right? Like if you're expecting to have growth or get better at something, you're going to have to make some sacrifices in order to do that, right? And what I'm thinking about is like you can't just do like what everybody else is doing. You can't just be involved in every old thing. You can't just put yourself around any type of person, right? You got to be selective on those things. You got to make sacrifices, and sometimes, most times, you have to be disciplined enough to do the things that everybody else ain't doing, right? We have to be disciplined enough to do that because who benefits from that? You, right? So it's important to make sure you make the proper sacrifices, which allows you to invest in those relationships. The last thing is to invest in relationships is you've got to talk, right? And what I mean by that is have great communication, right? You have to have communication. Just like the example I gave you earlier about two people, you know, one person is going to be growing, one person going to, like, if you're in a relationship, you're not the same person 3 months down the road that you were when you started the relationship, right? You're not the same person that you were, you know, a year. None of you are the same person a year down the road than you were then. The goal is to continue to have growth. The goal is to continue to be a better person, right? And when you strive to be a better person, that allows you to be the best version of yourself so that you can give that to others. And when you do that, you have to have consistent communication so that you continue to grow individually, but continue to grow together. So you got to talk, boy. That's what my mama used to say. You got to talk, boy. Right? And so in closing, I just want to review what I gave you today. I just talked to you about investing in relationships. It's important to invest in relationships, right? And when you invest, you make those deposits that you need to make so that withdrawals can be made at any time because you've deposited what it takes. And so in order to invest, you have to look to have intentional actions. You have to have new experiences. You have to be visible. You have to give effort. You have to make sacrifices. And you have to talk. And I'm an acronym guy, so if you look at that INVEST, that spells invest, right? So I challenge you and I encourage you to invest in your relationship so that you continue to have the successful growth that you want to have in your life. So 2 points. I just want to give us some encouragement today. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your journey to success, student, professional, business, wherever you are, wherever you are in this room, I want to give you some encouragement today. There's 2 things you need to know: that you are enough is the first thing. You know, sometimes we get looking at our goals, striving to achieve those BHAGs, right? Those big, hairy, audacious goals. Sometimes we wonder, oh man, am I enough for that? Or somebody thinks highly enough of us to put us in a position to be able to do some things. You wonder, ooh, I don't know. Well, let me tell you, let me reassure you, you are enough. All right, that's the first point. The second point I want to give you is You can do it. Yes, you can. Right? And I'm gonna tell you a little story about that. So growing up, my mother, single parent mom, she was an encourager, right? And she would always tell me that, like, boy, she put the boy in front of it. You know, she put the boy in front of it for real. Boy, you can do it. Yes, you can. Right? She lean into me, she get the head shake, right? I'm like, well, maybe I can then, right? And so, and then sometimes she'll look off and she'll come back to me. She'll say, boy, you can do it. Yes, you can. And so whatever challenges you're facing, whatever it is that you're trying to get to, know that, like, it may be uncomfortable, right? It may be tough, right? But on the other side of that uncomfort is your maximum growth, right? So know that you have to push through that, because on the other side of that is where the greatness happens, right? And I just want to remind you, you can do it. Yes, you can.